to you if you have anything to ask. So I let my dear Alexandra introduce our guest.
Hello, welcome everyone. So I'm just trying to introduce all our guests tonight. We'll start to my left with Daphné Huynh. She is a comedian, a screenwriter, an actress, an author, a radio columnist. I mean, what doesn't she do? She does.
I don't cook.
You don't cook. Okay, that's fine. I don't either. That's okay. We can do everything perfectly. Then we have Michael Doherty, who I really admire for the movies he edited. You may know him from some of his works as an editor of, for example, the classics Land of the Dead, Survival of the Dead, but also Hannibal. And then to his left, sorry, not that good. We have Thea Hvistendahl. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yeah. It's kind of okay. Sorry.
It's fine. It's a lot of ages.
Yeah, she's a Norwegian director and screenwriter, and you will probably know her from Hannibal and Dead, which is a movie that kind of was a bombshell. I mean, everyone talked about it, and I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't know it? So it's kind of exciting to have you here. And then we have Tuppence Middleton next to my colleague Liam. She's an English actress and she has been in a lot of different movies and series. Some of you might know her from Sense8 as Riley Blue. I personally know her from Chatroom and Possessor, so everyone has their own references. But she has been in different series and in different movies. And then I have my colleague Liam.
So for everyone there, I have one question. What is your first memory about horror movies?
For me, the first horror movie I saw, I think I was 10 years old, and I was alone at an outdoor cinema. It was Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte, from many, many, many years ago. And they were doing a retrospective of old horror films. And I was a 10-year-old watching it, scared out of my mind.
Mine was on New Year's Eve. I think I was probably like 8, 9, something like that, and we saw Poltergeist. That was great. Like walking through the TV and there's a clown and stuff. It was really scary, I remember. And then we continued with Bad Taste just after. So that was also the first time I saw people eating brains with spoon. It was cool.
I guess my first experience with horror wasn't actually a movie, but I used to spend Friday nights with my cousin and my sister around the house of one of my brother's friends, and they locked me in the living room with the lights off when the Thriller video for Michael Jackson, the music video came on, and I was so terrified, but also so amazed by this video. It was like a miniature film in itself, and so that was kind of the first trigger, which kind of, I guess, began my love of horror. But then I discovered The Nightmare Before Christmas, and that was my favorite. That's still my favorite Christmas movie, and one that I watch every year. But that was my favorite film as a child.
And for me, it was Scream. But my very first memory of a film that is not considered a horror movie, but for me it was when I saw it, because I was just 8. It's Requiem for a Dream. I think Requiem for a Dream when you're a child is a horror movie.
I totally agree, even as an adult.
Yes.
And one thing to add, when I was very young, also not a horror movie, but the thing that scared me the most were the flying creatures in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh yes.
That scared me.
Now, you talked a bit about older movies, if I may say so. Those are all movies a bit older. But is there any movie in the last decade that you saw and that you thought this really pushed the limits, the boundaries of horror genre? Is there a movie that you think really tried to do that?
I really everyone because I think it's one of those really disturbing films that stays with you. But there's a French film called Martyrs, which really, for me, was like something I hadn't seen before. It took it to the next level of disturbing, and I think that it's almost like this sort of, it crosses lots of different horror genres in a way. It's not kind of torture, and it's not slasher, and it's not supernatural. There's something, there's a little bit of everything in there, and I think that's the last decade. Maybe it's longer actually.
No, I don't know. I don't know what 500 meters from me is, so I don't know what 10 years ago is.
Probably actually
Older
older
than
than
Shrek.
10 years. Shrek? Is she younger than Shrek? Maybe. Perhaps.
No. Any other responses to my question?
I mean, I can't say off the top of my head something within the last 10 years, but way back, one of the ones that impressed me the most for a first-time director was Cube by Vincenzo Natali. When I watched that film, I mean, it was so smart and so different that I realized that this guy had talent. And for me, that was new for a kind of horror film, not really, but an element of it.
For me, it would be Midsummer. Midsummer. I don't know how to pronounce Midsummer. Yeah,
It's really
this really
Midsummer.
pushes the limits for me.
And for me, I think it's anything by Lucille Hatzialilova, which I don't know if it's like proper horror, but it's horror-esque, or at least very unsettling. I find it very interesting.
Is anyone there has a question for the guests? Really, no one. You don't want to play with the mic. You have a mic to cool, so don't worry if you have a question. Ah, there. So, which one of you wants to go to speak?
What? We can throw it.
Scientific serious. Let you.
Okay, I'll try.
Another tradition.
Okay, so
And a baseball arm.
I don't have insurance, please no.
I will have missed it.
Vous parlez dedans, je crois.
Yeah. We can talk in here. Yes.
What do I do now?
You take it. Yes. And you can talk there.
Okay, so
Yes.
I talk into this one. Okay.
It's perfect.
So, what's your main criterion when you vote in deciding on which movie to vote for during the competition?
Yeah, very interesting question, you know, because the films that we get to watch are, each of them are a little bit different. And so, I don't know, I think it's, in one respect, it's coherence that the movie from beginning to end makes sense, it's set up properly, and clearly, and also does it deliver on what it promised. You know, some movies are saying one thing when you watch it and it's not quite what you get. I think if it gives us exactly what we were looking for and expecting, I think it's part of the criteria for us.
not only because what we expected, but something that is and something that is like new or has a big vision or something exciting or something that is that's what you want from the film is to be tickled in some ways.
Anyone else? No one wants to play with Mike.
That's shy.
Oh, don't be shy.
Nothing else. Someone else? No?
No one else?
Anybody wants to take it?
So 1, 2, 3, nobody else. Okay, maybe we have the last question.
I need to have the last question because I'm
Yes.
not going to take so nicely.
I have so many questions, so little answers, that I'm going to have to try to pick one question. And it kind of is for all of you. We sometimes speak of a life cycle of a film. You have before, during, and after production of a movie. What part of the filmmaking process excites you the most, and what part do you find the most challenging?
For me, since I also write, I think the writing process is the most challenging part because writing is rewriting all the time. So, and you're never satisfied. And the most exciting part is when you get to be on set and work your craft. And yeah, maybe see the movie at the end, but that's a bonus.
I mean, for me, it's a bit different as an editor. Sometimes I'm brought on board before they start shooting, but more often than not, I start the first day of shooting. And I think the part that's most interesting is just how the whole thing evolves. A good example of this would be when we did the film Diary of the Dead with George Romero. He shot it in a particular way, and so I did the first edit. The first edit that we do is always to script, with all of the dialogue, exactly as done, and then you take a look at it and see is it working. And we looked at Diary of the Dead, and we said, this movie is not working. And so in the edits, we completely transformed it into something different. And that's the power that I have in a way. And you say it's the last of the writing process. It absolutely is the last of the writing process. Because, well, for example, doing a television show like Hannibal, I would edit an episode, but the script comes in at 54 minutes, but we have to deliver specifically 43 minutes, 30 seconds. So you end up rewriting, extracting dialogue, and having to get to that exact point. And then when I watch it, I'm always saying to myself, why did I make that choice? Never satisfied.
I agree with Daphne that writing is the worst part. It's fun at times, but it's also really hard. And then being on set is the best. But I think that also pre-production and post is amazing at times. But on set we just really have to go, so there isn't as much time for doubt or anxiety. So and we have all the people there who are just.
I think as an actor, there's this sort of like running joke amongst actors that the best bit is getting the call to say that you've got the job, and then you have to do the job, and that's really anxiety-inducing, and you're full of insecurity. And of course, being on set and doing it is the best part for everyone. And then I think, like you say, you can really make or break a film or a performance in the edit, and you are so out of control of that as an actor. You can do a certain amount, you can put everything into something, but at the end of the day, you don't have total creative control, so you're kind of at the mercy of you really have to put so much trust in your filmmakers. And I think in a way that the press and the bit afterwards is the most challenging for me, because you're letting other people into something that was kind of pure between you and the crew and the cast, and that you have your own opinion of, and then you're sort of putting it out into the world when everyone has an opinion. Not everyone is going to like it, not everyone's going to like you or your performance or whatever. And you just sort of have to close your ears slightly to the noise and just try to be proud of what you've created. It depends. But yeah, for me that's the most tricky part, because you don't. Sometimes you get to see the film for the first time at a public screening or a screening for the cast and crew, and actually all you want to do as an actor is watch it in a dark room by yourself, and the first watch is only criticising yourself, and then the second watch you can finally see the film. So yeah, that's the most challenging for me.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. And I think it was Richard Burton who said that he could not watch himself up on screen because he'd lose confidence for a month. He couldn't act again for a month because he'd become so self-critical. But to your point about others making choices, when you are given 5 or 6 takes, and you were able to do some differences in each of those takes, what we end up putting up on the screen is still the honest acting. You've just chosen to do something slightly different that gives us the option to make a particular scene go a particular way.
Yeah, but I also think what you do is genius, because I've been on set sometimes with actors who I think, oh my god, this will never look good. And then I see the finished product and think, they're magicians. I mean, you can really make someone's performance in the edit. So it's, I think, yeah, it's more speaking to the fact that I think you can better it. It's really incredible.
And also in that way, the use of reaction shots is what can really help different performances, because sometimes you need to focus on the person who is listening, and that really makes a huge difference. And the other great thing about being an editor is while they're shooting, and maybe they're shooting for 2 months, I'm alone in the room. I'm just by myself making all these choices. Nobody, like being a writer, when you first write something, I can sit there and make all of these choices with nobody telling me anything. And then I have my time with the director or producers afterwards. And that's where it sometimes gets contentious, because different people have different agendas. But at the end of the day, it's an unbelievable thing to be able to be part of a process that involves so many people, and watching a finished product, it's the best.
I think it's